you've ever seen. Hello, hello, joy. Hello, hello, strength. Hello, hope. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. If you
Hello, hello. I think I should be live right now. I am not 100% sure. Is that true?
Yes,
I,
Meg, you're live. Hello,
okay.
everyone. Yes, we have
Hello.
Megan DiMartino here
Good.
live with Propel.
Because, hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Megan DiMartino. And I said that because I'm having the second week in a row technical difficulties. I had my computer fixed this week, thought I was A-OK, and then it's not holding my emails. So here I'm on my phone again. And when that intro of hello, joy, hello, peace, hello, love, a new horizon, and hello, strength, a new horizon finished, I said to myself, I better plug in my charger because we're going to be on for an hour and I didn't want to lose you in the middle of this. So technical difficulties aside, I'm so pleased to be here with you tonight with Propel Deep Dive. It is a weekly program that I'm doing based on my Propel Your Business and Life Activation program. And the one reason that I have the intro, and there's many, but the one reason I have the intro of that song, which to me just really shares my heart with you. Hello, joy. Hello, peace. Hello, love. Hello, hope. Hello, strength. A new horizon. And to me, that is what building businesses and life are all about. And I started this program several years ago after I sold a portion of my luxury day clinical medical spa. And I went into a place of reflection saying, what am I going to do to help others at this point? And so I hired Sharon Lecter. Hired is not the right word. I started working with Sharon Lecter, who became a wonderful mentor and friend. And we started talking about what I've done and what I could do to help others. And with that, I started putting together the Propel Your Business and Life Activation program. And there's two modules, the Start module and the Scale module. And then there's a Sustain module, but that is a mastermind. But the Start and Scale are based on my 5 C's, which are basically my non-negotiables that I have used over these 30 plus years of building, starting, scaling, and then sustaining 3 7-figure businesses and selling 2. Now I share that, as I say often, I'm not sharing that to impress you, but to impress upon you that you too can do this. I started when I was very young, and I'm not going to, kind of share my whole life story, but I did start my first business when I was 26, and it was a Tupperware business. And I became a manager with that distributorship in Fairfield County, Connecticut, because I needed a car and I needed money and I needed to save money because I knew I was in a horrible marriage and I needed to prepare myself to leave that marriage. I didn't really know how I could do that, how I could start and scale and sustain that, but I stepped off that bridge hoping that there would be water in that river to propel me on in my life. And so over these many, many years of working for other people, so in the 80s, I worked for 2 large corporations in national sales and marketing, in the professional beauty industry, in the national wholesale arena. And then in 86, I was recruited by Alcon Laboratories to move to Fort Worth, Texas. So this New York girl moved to deep in the heart of Texas with one of my daughters. My older daughter was getting ready to go to college, so she stayed on Long Island, finished her senior year, and my younger daughter moved with me to Texas. And that was truly a jolt and a life change for sure. But it was a great experience on so many levels. But during that season of working with Alcon and helping them develop a hair care line for the wholesale beauty industry, I realized that it was time to start my own. I had that dream, that goal, but really that dream many years prior to start create, really not so much start a business, but to create something. So I am a creative. I've been creating all these years, but it was time to develop and create for myself, for you. So I left Alcon and started, and I had really prepared for it, but I launched my first business, Glycolique, in the summer of 1992, and it was one of the first result-oriented skincare lines that utilizing medical grade ingredients such as glycolic acid, alpha hydroxy fruit acids, botanicals, antioxidants, and the like. So I put Glycolique together and launched it in summer of 1992. And so then I was off to the races. And again, I'm not going to share my whole life story, but I just wanted to give you a bit of a background to my beginning and the why of why I started and putting together then the Propel program. That is, again, a program to help you start and scale and then ultimately sustain the business and life of your dreams. Because in us all, there is a dream. I know that as I know that. I have worked with thousands of people over these my own business, 33 years, or 35 years or whatever it is. But the point is that I've worked and trained many, many, many people over the years. And I do know that people have a dream, but they stop themselves because they really feel that they don't have the ability, they don't have the background, they don't have the tools, they don't have the experience, they are lesser than, can't do it, all of those things. But I'm here to say that you can do it. You just have to start and take that first step. So this evening, we're going to go into the fifth C, which is compassion. And this past month, we've been doing clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and today, compassion. Every week, I have a guest with me, my special guest. Last week, David Strauss joined us. I hope he joins us in the room here, if not on Facebook, in the Propel Your Business and Life Activation Program Facebook group. Also, we have this is streamed out into YouTube. It's also streamed into LinkedIn, and it's streamed into the Propel group on Clubhouse. So I hope that David does come on, but Dr. Tangi Brewer was a guest. Also, we've been doing it now for 3 months. The first month was February, and that was me alone doing the 5 C's. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to invite people in to join us. So we've had so many amazing guests over these last, 5 weeks. So with that, these 4 weeks. And today, my guest is my favorite person on Clubhouse. She is such a clever, verbal, creative woman, MaryLynn Wilkin. Hello, Miss MaryLynn. Welcome to Propel Your Business and Life Activation Program.
Well, Megan, my goodness, what an amazing, kind introduction. And I was so honored you picked me for compassion. And I just think it's so appropriate to do compassion in May because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I think my passion is mental health. And that's where a lot of my compassion comes in. So, and hey, May is my birthday. So I'm like, it just, those things, when they align like that, it just makes me so happy.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, people ask me, how do I pick my guest, MaryLynn? Honestly, I am asked that all the time. And, or who's my guest next week? And my answer is, I have no idea. I just kind of listen. I really mean it. And I said, but I'll let you know by Monday. I'll figure it out. But it's not me thinking, putting my thinking cap on and saying, who can I have? You know, I just listened to inspiration. And that inspiration, you know, I have no idea what you said, but there was something you said on Clubhouse that I said, MaryLynn, yes, compassion, because you have such a compassionate heart, you have such a compassionate spirit. You can't do what you do day after day on Clubhouse. And for our guests that don't know Clubhouse, it's an audio app. And our dear friend Glenn Lundy, who MaryLynn and I have both known for quite a few years now, was the founder of Breakfast with Champions. And so this early morning show goes on every day, Monday through Friday. And MaryLynn, along with Dora Maria, she was one of my guests. She was actually the week before David. And then Dr. Tanji Brewer was the week before that. And so, but, you know, listening to you every day, and not just your responses to people, and not just your quick response to maybe the pregnant pause of the room, which you jump in and do. Again, that takes compassion. That takes really that insight to listening to people. But you don't idly just jibber jabber. You do not. You really are so poignant to what was going on, what was being said. You truly listen. And that's an art. That's a gift. And that is compassion. That is empathy. Empathy is a very strong emotion that is aligned to compassion. Now we hear often about giving compassion to others. 100%. You cannot be empathetic unless you're compassionate for others. But the C here, MaryLynn, in the Propel Your Business and Life Activation Program, the C is really compassion for yourself.
Yes.
Compassion for yourself. That really is the direction of the C of Propel. Because in creating things, and I don't care if it's a business, I really don't care. It's about, I mean, I'm talking globally now for everyone listening to us. But in order to start something, that could be a nonprofit. I want you to go there tonight a little bit, but we'll talk about that later. But in order to start something, you have to be vulnerable. And that's why this, after clarity, in this, the 5 C's is courage, because you have to build that courage muscle. Because often people will say, we have to have clarity and then you have confidence. Okay, that's great. Yes, yes, yes. You have to have confidence to step out. But on the other side of the coin, in order to get to confidence, you have to build that courage. And that's a really often long journey of understanding, you know, the clarity of why you're doing it or why you want to do it, but that building that courage to go into confidence and then commitment. You can't do your nonprofit and everything you've been doing, including, hello, on Clubhouse for how long, MaryLynn? How long have you been moderating?
Oh, well, I've been there since day one, but moderating about a year.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I thought
a year.
Yeah.
And I mean, every day.
Yeah, every day in every way. Yes, you're getting better and better, as they say. And but you committed to that, and you are there every day, along with Christina and Dora Maria and others that help. But the three of you are the backbone of having that continue to go, that continue to move, that continue to evolve on. So it is that. But again, back to compassion, it is, you know, like I say, MaryLynn, and you've heard some of my stories, that in order for me to have, years ago, I'm talking about now, starting some of this stuff, I've had to forgive myself and have compassion for myself of things that could have stopped me. And, but I've known, as I know, in my spirit, I'm just talking about me as like a little girl. I was the one that was setting up the lemonade stands. I was the one that was guiding the kids across the main street. Got in a lot of trouble for that. But regardless, you know, on that magical mystery tour, riding our bikes. But I could have taken all that stuff and on and held myself back. after, the world says, stop, stop, stop. But I've given myself compassion over the years to move forward. So share with our guests. Now, you said when you briefly introduced yourself that May was, and we talked about this last week with David Strauss, May is a Mental Health Awareness Month. Share a little bit about why this is so important to you.
Well, I'll kind of introduce myself a little bit.
Sure.
MaryLynn.
Good.
And I am from Florida. So no, it is sunny Florida right now. There's a thunderstorm going on. So if you hear any crashing and banging behind me, that is our fun, famous thunderstorms. But I have a son, 27 years old, and I'm a mom, and we have our podcast together, Multi-Level Motivation. So why that was so important is because I've been in mental health a long time. My very first job, career-wise, I mean, yes, I was a salad girl at Sizzler at 16, but my very first career job was at a psychiatric hospital. I was the admissions clerk. And if you want to talk about learning at a young age what some people are going through tragically,
Yes.
on the mental health side, I mean, it just really instilled something in me at a young age. Also, I saw my cousin have a psychotic break at Christmas, and she ended up in a group home after that. So we had some mental health stuff happen in our family. My mom was the director of nurses at the hospital. I was working in admissions. I went on to do some work in limited mental health facilities. I was an activities director, and I've also worked in clinics with mapping brains. So I just have a really, I think from a young age, innate love for mental health. And I think that's my passion, and that's where my compassion comes from.
And it truly is not only, well, first off, how old were you when you were working at that reception desk? How old were you?
19.
19. Wow. So at 19, when a lot of kids are in college and, in a very social environment, you were there greeting people, but not only the individual in crisis, but also their families. And so you saw the reality of what was going on in that individual's life initially. And so, yes, I can see how that is truly created an awareness and understanding and compassion for other people, very much so. And so, like you said, your mother was a nurse at that hospital, and then you went on to other facets of that arena.
Yes.
And so today, as a professional, and doing your podcasting with your son, Miles, let me ask you this: how impactful, and will there be a thread through your podcasting with this topic, or is it not?
Yeah. No, I really think that's what the basis of it is. And my son did send me some words to read on compassion. So if we get a chance, I'd love to read
Please.
what my brilliant son has to say, but we'll get to, I can read that. But I think the thing is that why it's multi-level motivation is because I've seen people brought in by an ambulance, under the greatest of circumstances and duress. I have been there where I couldn't get out of bed before. I know people who have been homeless, our friend Glenn Lundy, and now own jets. So we're trying to use our experiences, our passion, our compassion alongside experts. And it's really that multi-level of, we've been there, we've seen it. How can we level up, whether you can't get out of bed or whether you're somebody who has aspirations to own a jet. So it is at the core of everything I do.
That's great.
Yeah. And so my son did send something, if that's okay.
Please,
if I read
please
it
read it. Yes, I was going to
So-
let you finish and say, please read what Miles sent, please.
I have to put my glasses on for that. Just so you know.
Absolutely, I will too.
So he goes, compassion follows the golden rule. These are my son's words again. Compassion follows the golden rule of treating others how you want to be treated. One cannot be compassionate and selfish simultaneously. Putting others first is the best thing we can do for ourselves. And our fellow humans as well as ourselves. That's what he says. Sorry. Through serving others, we ultimately serve ourselves. And through compassion, the greatest gift of love is delivered. So that my son sent me that.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you.
Right.
Look forward to meeting Miles one day. And
Yes.
that I received I don't know if you were on the stage or the breakfast table when I had a segment last week. I don't think so. But the day before, so that would have been last Monday, Michelle McLean, who's a friend and also, you know her from Clubhouse, was posted on Facebook. I did a podcast for 2 years called Unique Leaders Live. And my heart is to interview people. My heart is not really about me. I put it in context. Hello, Rodney. Welcome. And MaryLynn, good to see you guys. But my heart is to, and that is, I can't see the other person, Kelly. Hello, Kelly. It's very small, Kelly. Very small. Welcome, guys. But she posted the graphics from the Unique Leaders when I interviewed her a couple of years ago. And I thought that was lovely, but she was talking about her point was that I gave her the platform to share her story. And she was in the middle of 75 Hard at that time. She was in the middle of really working on so many things in her life. Well, when I was on the next day, she was in the room and I brought that up and she said about the fact, and this goes hand in glove with what Miles said, it's about having compassion for others, meaning this is not a soliloquy about me. This is about you. And this is about Maria and Rodney and everyone that, I keep seeing, oh, that's me. I see a little body down there and that's me. But it's about everyone in this room. So, Rodney, I'm sure MaryLynn.
Oh, there. Hi.
You know Rodney, I'm sure, right?
I do.
Okay, good. And then Miss Maria Lind, I'd like to introduce you.
Did we lose MaryLynn?
Can't hear you, Megan.
Hear you, Megan. We lost your sound, and it looks like we also lost our special guest, MaryLynn. Megan, we can't hear you. I would love to have all the technical difficulties of all the things. Meg, I can't hear you. No, we can't hear you, Meg. So I believe MaryLynn's back, and she's sideways. Oh, there she is. Welcome back, MaryLynn. Gotta love the Meg. We still can't hear you though. Meg, there's no sound for Meg. Meg, leave and come back.
Can Mary
Can you
be
hear
heard?
me?
MaryLynn, are you there? Hear anything? MaryLynn, are you there?
I'm
Can you
here.
hear us?
Can you hear me?
Okay. MaryLynn, yeah. So we cannot hear Meg. She is
I can hear
gotta
you.
love difficulties, but what an amazing conversation about compassion. Rodney, Kelly, Maria, if you guys would like to tap in, ask MaryLynn any questions around her stuff as we wait for Megan to come back. I'm going to drop what Miles said. I have the whole copy into the chat as well. What would you guys like to add to the conversation?
Well, this is Rodney. I just wanted to add, when I was on, I had the pleasure of having the word compassion as well. And I'm sure that MaryLynn's going to do an excellent job sharing her perspective on compassion because, like Megan said, she is the textbook definition of compassion, and she shows that on a regular basis. And I'm just looking forward to hearing her perspective on that and continuing to just experience this event Missed it last week, but I was glad I was able to make it this week.
Can you hear me now? Yes?
Well, thanks, Rodney. Yeah, I think
Can you hear me,
you
guys?
know,
Guys, can you hear
we
me?
may not all like
We can hear you,
Glenn
Megan.
says, people say,
You can?
we're
Okay.
not all exactly.
You know what? MaryLynn got frozen. She's frozen right
Can we
now.
hear Megan? I'm struggling with a thunderstorm.
Yeah, Florida is not so sunshiny right now. Me and Maryland are like in the hail and craziness, but we are doing our best.
Okay.
Go ahead,
So,
Maryland.
so everyone is here now? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Well, I just wanted to share something tonight, MaryLynn, in honor of you joining us. You know, in the early, maybe a year ago, you and Monica Ricky, is that how you say her last name? Yes. You did the 4 Agreements. And I love this book.
Ricky.
And, pardon me? Is there a echo? No. Okay. So anyhow, you know, in honor of compassion, and I can see why this book resonates with you, MaryLynn, because you know if you read the 4 Agreements, the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. Second is first I'm sorry, dream of the planet. I'm sorry. Second is be impeccable with your word. Third is don't take anything personally. Fourth is don't make assumptions. Fifth, always do your best. Sixth, breaking old agreements. And then 7, but that's more than 4. But anyway, the 3rd agreement, 5th, 4th, always do your best. Sorry. But what I'm trying to say is that all of these 4 agreements are really about compassion if you look at them, all of them. You know, it's compassion for the planet, for others, meaning be honest and truthful and be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. We're talking about giving yourself compassion. Don't make assumptions. And that's a big one today. You know, everyone is speaking their truth, you know, but it's those assumptions and not listening to the other person, and always do your best. And that's the commitment to others. And that's what Miles was speaking about. And you know, it's such an important, you know, this room is not just about my program. That's where it starts. But I'm always about, that's where I lost you guys talking about Michelle McLean and giving people a platform to share their stories, because it's so important to hear other people's stories and to hear their hearts and what's going on and making that point in their heart. MaryLynn shared before you guys came on. Would you repeat what you did at 19 and then the beginning of your career, MaryLynn, with everyone?
Oh yeah. So my very first like career type job was at a psychiatric hospital. My mother was the director of nurses there, and she got me a job in admissions. So I was the first person when people were either brought in under a Baker Act or by their family. I had to do the interview alongside the nurse, you know, but I got them kind of checked in. So I was the first line, the first first person they saw really coming into the hospital, and I saw a lot. Everything from just your normal everyday, maybe a depression, to somebody in full blown, like the shackles and stuff. So, and everything in between. And I think when you see that at a young age, you can't help but have it impact you.
No. And understand that that heart of compassion for others. That's one of the things, Rodney, you speak about often, meaning I'm sure, MaryLynn, you know that he is a chaplain and he works with hospice. So, Rodney?
Yes.
Okay, I'm very leery because I have no idea. You know, I think I disconnected myself when I put in the charger. But anyhow, would you share a little bit, like to what MaryLynn is speaking about your understanding of compassion with what you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, in order for you to be able to interact with somebody who's going through challenging times, like MaryLynn was talking about when she was at the mental health facility, and you seeing people when they come in distress, you can't honestly address their issue or bring any comfort or any kind of care to them without having compassion for them and having a little bit of empathy for their situation. Now, there's some people who try to do this from their head. You know what I mean? You know, intellectually thinking that they know what they need to say to people, but if they don't have true compassion for the people, they will not be able to address or be able to address the issues of a person who's in distress in an adequate way. You can do something to get them out of that situation, but the level of compassion and empathy you have for a person is going to be the determining factor of how much that you can help them in a situation like that.
Right.
There's people
Right.
that can do the minimal amount, pretending like they really care, but the people who truly have empathy and compassion for people, they are the ones that make the hugest difference and the most impact in a situation like that. And that's probably what MaryLynn did. And at 19, she probably didn't realize how much of an impact she was having, but you probably seen over the time that you were there that you were affecting lives. And just at 19, you're thinking you were just having a job, but really you had a purpose.
Absolutely. And, you know, as you're speaking, I'm thinking about.
You know, something to add is that.
No, go ahead, hon. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, and it's something I didn't say is that, you know, later in life, I ended up going into limited mental abilities. And everyone thinks I worked with the elderly. And I worked with from 18 to 65 people who had limited mental health, which was just another term for psychiatric issues. And I led the activities, and it was that foundation of when I was young. And then Meg was saying, like, you know, I listened to other people when I'm on Clubhouse, and I think it all back to that 19 years old and just listening and having the heart for it, because you can't do that from the head, like you said. So that's why I wear my heart necklace.
Right. But that's what I said before you guys came on. I said, you know, MaryLynn is, you know, every day she's been on that Breakfast with Champions for a year. Now that takes commitment. That's one of the major 5 C's. But she has committed to doing this every day. But as I shared with her, I'm so impressed by her listening factor, because when she is filling in the void of a gap, or someone says something and she comes on, you can tell she's been listening, because how she responds to that person is applicable. Maria's shaking her head, yes, applicable to what they are saying. And that's back to what you were saying, Rodney, because really, it really is an element of compassion because she understands. And you speak to it, MaryLynn, about getting on those, you know, the breakfast table, so to speak, and opening the mic and speaking. It's pretty dang scary. So you have compassion for people and their needs. And so it's just, again, it's that listening, it's that caring, it's that taking that different step. Yeah. Now, Maria, I'd like to ask you about compassion. I want to bring it back to business a teeny bit, because I've heard you speak to this personally as well as on Breakfast with Champions and other rooms. But I've heard you share about, and the other night, for example, in the Million Man Marathon room, about, and we're not going to go there, but you were sharing some information, and your heart about opening, huh?
I got a little loud. Oh, look, I'm blushing.
Well,
Well, I'm
that
gonna-
makes me wonder what you were talking about on that in that room there, Mary. I see you blushing there, but you don't have to share that right now. Let's get back on focus.
Right. But my point is that you opened your mic that night, which took a lot of courage and confidence and commitment to what you do, but also you showed compassion for the point of what you were sharing, because it's about mortgage rates, guys. She was, I mean, pretty dry, but also very effective. I mean, it affects us all. But so we don't have to go there. But my point is of asking you, my point of asking you is that so much of what you do in the real estate world is based on compassion for others.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's because of what I've been through with respect to my divorce. Like pretty much you go back and you look at your life, and I lost a parent, so I had a single mom. I was the little mommy. Then I marry my husband, get divorced, go to foreclosure, have to fight for custody, defend myself, and stuff like that. So I really bring all of that into what I do as a business owner, but also a coach to my agents as a realtor. Why I got so passionate that night was because of the experience of 2008, bringing people into a situation of foreclosure, short sales, having to sell their home. And it's hard to save money. It's hard to watch your bank account go from $120,000 down to 20,000 because you have a down payment, you have closing costs. So I understand the love that people have to have for the goal of purchasing a home. And when they right now people are charging so much, and I could talk a long time. The reason I got so passionate is because I don't want that repeated again. I know what it's like to be in foreclosure. I know what it's like to go to settlement conferences. I know how it feels fearful of your kids not having a home with you, or losing custody because you can't put them in a home because your spouse or ex-spouse does have a home. So that's what you heard that night.
Yes.
That passion and for the compassion I have for the people, because it's almost like I have a crystal ball and I can say, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I really, that's what you heard. And I appreciate you for reaching out and saying, at least introduce yourself so you have some credibility in speaking that way, right? Because I never told anyone I was a realtor. I just started talking.
Right, right. No, she just came in with great guns, and just said what she said, which was, I mean, I'm not in that industry, so I have no idea, but she debated it beautifully. But really my point though was why you had the courage to open your mic and share, because it was compassion. And I've heard you share that in other ways, meaning in not only in Breakfast with Champions, but other genres, about your compassion for others. Meaning, MaryLynn, Maria was a math teacher. She had a very, very, solid career, and but one of the reasons you left academia was because you wanted to help others.
Yeah, there's a whole story to that.
Mhm.
But I always want to help others. Why I was a good teacher, great teacher, I was an excellent teacher, is because I, was the cool teacher. I listened to the children, and it was wonderful being in front of that classroom and teaching the language of mathematics and English. It was fun, and but I listened to the kids. They knew why they were there. They knew why I was there. But and so they had a lot of noise, right? Adolescence. And I have an 18 and 20-year-old now, but I'm their mom, so it's a little different. But I was the cool teacher, and they shared with me so much because I spoke to them with heart. They were little humans, and their experiences were real. And you could shake it off or like, oh, it's young love, but that was real love to them. That's the realest love they knew outside of the love of their parents. So when they're breaking up and it's the end of the world, you really have to understand that they're feeling a pain in their heart and it's real to them. So you have to show up as someone who loves them and understands their pain. So I brought in my pain of breaking up with an ex-boyfriend that I was in love with and used that when I communicated. So the compassion, the authentic feeling of pain and understanding comes through. So yes, that's compassion. That's feeling their pain, understanding it, accepting it, letting them know that it's real. I do the best with my kids, but again, I'm their mom, and it's a little
Well,
different.
I want to bring Kelly, exactly. I want to bring Kelly in, then I want to go back to another question for everyone. But Kelly, would you like to unmute and share a little bit about yourself? And then, you know, essentially from that, because what both Maria and Rodney and MaryLynn were talking about was that listening piece. But share just a little bit about compassion to you.
Sure. I really can barely hear. I don't know why my sound is so low. So I really had to strain to listen to everything. But I have a lot of compassion. I think I was just born being compassionate. I've always had a heart for like the elderly. And so I've worked in nursing homes when I was growing up. Like at 19, I started working in nursing homes. And so that was a very endearing experience. And I think I learned so much, especially from the elderly then. Now I'm one of them. But I feel like that anyways. But yes, I love, and I have such an admiration for MaryLynn and her compassion. You can just hear it in someone's voice and you can feel it. Even if you can just hear their voices without seeing them, you can just feel their compassion. And so I just admire that in her. And I think that's such a great strength to have, especially as humans nowadays. There's really not as much of that as really is needed in the world. And so I naturally just have that. I just have a heart for people. In fact, I work with patients now in imaging. And so I see people that have cancer. And so I just immediately feel like their sorrow or their hope or whatever emotion they may have. And so sometimes I have to I share my, tears sometimes with them, and I ask them if I can give them a hug. And that hardly ever happens in the world now. And I just feel this desire just to go up to people and speak truth to them. Like I just say, I really think you have the most prettiest smile, or I just love your outfit, or your hair is so cute. I love your style. Just things like that just show that people really do care. And I think I'm kind of grateful that I feel that. But as I get older, it's even more often that I'm like feeling the emotions like on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. And absolutely, it's like you just said, getting older, meaning I think that it's not necessarily age. I kind of think about this often, but it's about the experience and every point of reference of experience. Like if you listen to Rodney and Maria and MaryLynn and yourself, it's experience that has built that understanding of compassion for others. So it really is that open your mind, your heart, and your brain, to take those steps. But I want to ask everyone a question. What about compassion for yourself? How often do you think about it? And is it something that you have to work on yourself? And is it a muscle you're building? And how important is your own self-compassion, your personal compassion, forgiveness of yourself? Why don't you take the lead, Miss MaryLynn?
Well, sure. To go back to something Maria was saying is, sometimes those of us who've been through something major, or maybe didn't have the most stable household, or what the case may be, I think we have an extra compassion, seventh sense maybe, because we never want people to feel like we. But along with that is sometimes I don't show myself the compassion that I would show somebody else. I say things to myself that I would not say to other people. I'm a late bloomer. I had to do a lot of healing through my 40s. I did not work in my 40s. At one point took care of my son. So I felt a little behind the 8 ball. And I can't tell you sometimes how much I beat myself up. And I've had to really work that muscle. And it's been the last couple years where I'm like, wow, I'm exactly where I need to be. I had to go through all that so I could share these experiences. And I think it's something I work on every single day, to be kind to myself.
Thank you, because that is really what this C is about, from propelling your business in life, is that self-compassion, understanding. And so, sir, what would you like to add to that?
Well, when we think about compassion, it's about realizing the emotions of others and trying to, in your willingness and desire to relieve that. And one of the challenges is that some people, most of us, and it seems like each and every person who is here in this room right now has the ability to be compassionate and feel the emotions of others on a regular basis. Like Kelly was saying, she feels it, as people are there going through it. She actually feels it, and I do too. And I'm sure MaryLynn and you, Megan, and Maria as well. But one of the challenges with that is sometimes we do that for others, but when it comes to our own emotions, we're not realizing our own emotions that we have, and it's based on us going through when you think about compassion for others, it's when they go through misfortunes, when they go through some stressful situation, when they're going through something. But the flip side of that, when it comes to ourselves, we when we're going through it, we have to realize the emotions. But what we do, and generally, a large part of the society does, is we try to ignore it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
We don't even try to express it. They won't even try to identify the emotions that we're going through. Because society tells us to not deal with it. Just keep going on and don't deal with it. Definitely don't cry. And don't show no weakness. You know what I mean? But the truth of the matter is that's not weakness. That's just being aware of what's going on in you. I mean, if you're sad, you're sad. If you're going through things that are hard, you're going through things that are hard. And so often society tries to get you to be Superman, and you try to be strong. And one of the messages I used to give to at memorial services, that you don't have to be strong. It's not being strong in the sense that people are saying don't feel what you feel,
Right.
Don't cry, don't show emotion, no, it's more like be strong. Being strong is to identify that and realize the emotions that you're going through and be strong enough to feel every single bit of it and process it and get through it. Because when you avoid it, it doesn't go away. It comes out in some other ways, maybe sickness, maybe anger, and all these other things. But we have to be aware enough that we are willing to deal with it all. Feel the pain, feel the hurt, be real with yourself when you haven't handled it right, and be real with yourself when you're not reacting in the right way. Based on what you're feeling, you're not reacting even to other people in the right way. You have to be able to be honest with yourself and realize those emotions and identify them. If it's sadness, it's sadness. If it's rejection that you're dealing with because somebody you may have lost somebody and you feel rejected because they're no longer there. But you don't want to admit that fact that you feel rejected. But those things that come up, you have to identify what you are feeling and then process that and go through it and feel every bit of it. And that's going to make you stronger on the other side. And it's going to really probably speed up the process of you going through it. And then when you're dealing with a loss or grief or anything like that, the determination factor on how you're going to get through, when you want to get through it, it's not time based. So it's that's just.
It's critical. It's critical. And, as you're speaking, Rodney, so many thoughts coming to me, but one is today, not today, this Sunday is Mother's Day. And I have two daughters, and I don't see them because one, the older gal and I are estranged, and my younger gal lives in Canada. Now, I hope to see her this summer, and I really do think so, but if not, it'll be sometime this year. But I never speak about that because it's their personal lives, or my older daughter. But, you know, in this room, I am going to speak to it because, like you said, those being real and dealing, but I had to go within, and I'll just say this much, that she has, I'm not going to say it. Anyway, because it's personal for her. But the point is that it's been an up and down type of relationship for years. And so it's not just right now. And so it's been heartbreaking for me for many, many, many years. But I have worked it through, understanding that all I can do is pray. That's all I can do. But my emotion doesn't mean that I don't have feelings about it, like you said, Rodney, you know? And one of the things, and Maria knows this, and some of the other gals, they're all about the ages of my daughters. And I feel like God has given me a lot of daughters. And so it's been, and that has been over the last, now my younger gal, we have a great relationship. She just happens to be a man that's Canadian, and they moved to Canada. But the point is that I'm still alone. And people say to me, so are you in Georgetown because of family? I said, no, they've either died or left. And so, but I live here because I've been here a long time and I have a lot of friends, and my businesses are here and all that, and I like this area. But the point is, I've had to go within and look at all of this, but also give myself compassion, because I could blame myself for a lot of things as well. And that there is nothing healthy about that either. And I cannot help others by doing that to myself and with myself. No. So, as I said, I don't often speak about that, but it is, when you were speaking about, covering things over, it's not a good thing. You have to go within and forgive yourself. And
That's
that
right.
way you can move on.
And all you could do is take responsibility for your part of whatever it is that you're
Yes.
doing.
Yes,
You
exactly.
don't project the other people's part. All you can take is responsibilities for your part, and be honest with yourself about your part of it.
Exactly. It's all I can do. And, but I've, forgiven the situation and forgiven myself, and all I can do at this point is just pray. And so, Maria, what about you, my love?
Timing. Wow. Okay. It's allowing so much going on in this head of mine. So I have this thing in my room, and it says, give yourself grace.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start with that. And I think we should all keep that in mind for ourselves. I made the mistake of trying to go through something difficult in this last 8 days by myself again. I'm going to be very, very vulnerable here. It's not easy for me to be vulnerable because my dad died when I was 10, and my mom was 28 years old, and she had 4 kids, and I'm the oldest of the 4. So I became little mommy. And so I always had to be strong. I always had to lead the way, So I've not really learned. I'm learning now at this age to reach out. Not really. I lied. That's a lie. You know what I mean? Like I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm not lying on purpose though, right? This is the person I've made myself. So anyway, I have I have people in my life that want to be there for me when I can't be there for myself. Um, you're looking at two beautiful women, Megan and Angeline. This Kingdom Sparkle thing that happened at BWC in Dallas is more than a thing. It's taken on a life of its own. I don't have to go through life alone. I have friends and they know, like when I disappear, I have one friend that just calls me, "Are you okay? You're not posting, you're not talking, you're not that." But I made the mistake of not reaching out to my Kingdom Sparkle sisters. I just was, "I'll get back to you later, or I'll talk about it later." Because I really should learn to say, and this came out today in my mind, it was just a reinforcement of what would I tell myself what would I tell myself if I was going to me for advice? And it would be, reach out to your Kingdom Sparkle sisters. They're prayer warriors.
I love this whole conversation. That was such a great share, Marianne. Thank you for being vulnerable with us. When it comes to compassion for me for myself, Meg, it's a hard one because we get so into our heads, especially like Rodney, I know you're outnumbered here, but especially as women, we get in our head. So you'll have to speak for the men. For everyone, like do you get in your head sometimes of, you know, I need to be more, or I'm being selfish if I think about myself like that. I've been so conditioned that if I think about myself, it's selfish. To be compassionate of myself isn't something that I need to do. I need to think of others first, right? So it's and I'd love to hear what MaryLynn thinks too, if you're still there. I know we're having our thunderstorms. It's been hard with our internet stuff. But as a mom, I know I go through the mom guilt sometimes. I know, and you talked about that, Megan, with your kids. It's we get into the state of, am I being enough of a parent, or am I being enough for them, or especially when we get mad or they're going through some things and you can't really be there, right, Maria? Like you can't, like you want or you think you're supposed to. So then you go through this whole mental throw up in your head. I don't even know what else to call it, right? Like this whole craziness of beating yourself up. So have learned that. I love what you said about community. I think MaryLynn's back. So as the whole thing about community and surrounding yourself with people that help uplift you when you can't uplift yourself. And giving it that way, you can see that them being compassionate and giving you grace allows you to see that for yourself as well, and be like, all right, yes, I can forgive myself. I can be compassionate and have a little grace in for myself, because it's hard. It can be really, really tough to remove the mind junk is what I call it. But that's what I'd like to share.
No, it's insidious. It just follows you. But again, that's where, like Maria's saying, and you're saying, and MaryLynn, I just want, before we go to Kelly, I know you're having internet problems, but I know you can hear this, hopefully. But again, that's what BWC, and even, back to the Rise and Grind, that's when I met you. Pardon me? Yes, we can hear you. Don't worry about, we can't see you. That's your beautiful face, but yes. But I mean, it's that community, and that's where this all started, so to speak. And it's helped me personally. I have friends, and I have a lot of friends all over the world, country, not world, but to be intimate, like you said, Maria, then you disappear. I've gotten very good about being by myself all the time. I'm an ace at it, but that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And so, because again, it doesn't help anyone, so to speak, at all. And so it was easier for me to be by myself, but I'm making sure that I step out. I'm very social, but that doesn't mean that you're reaching out. So Kelly, what would you say, about compassion for yourself? You were talking about your empathy and your compassion for others, but what about you with your own compassion?
Well, yes, I need growth in that area. I need to have more grace for myself. It's easier for me to have it for others than it is for myself. So I've been working on my own limited beliefs in myself for many, many years, and I've overcome a lot of, trials to still get there. And I know I try and I pray that I can see myself as God sees me. So that's a daily prayer for me, so that I can not be so judgmental of myself and so hurtful. And I am my worst enemy. And and I mean, I'm not going to say that I thank my mom for that, but when you hear negative words said to oneself all the time, and there's so much self criticism and self-hatred, it kind of, you pass that on. And I've learned that the hard way with my 3 daughters that I have. They've heard me be very critical of myself, and I see and hear that in them. And we've talked about it, and they know that I'm trying to correct that. And I give them such kudos every day. I send them affirmations. I tell them I love them and they're beautiful no matter where they are at, whether their weight or their looks or whatever. They're beautiful girls as they are. And I don't want them to feel that they ever have to change that, because I've struggled with that. So yes, I need to really just know that I'm a beautiful person inside, and it's okay to, to have your bad days, but yet I need to overcome them quicker, and just to, really enjoy the time that I have left, because there is more, like I hear on, Breakfast with Champions, I happen to have more time behind me than I do in front of me. And I want to enjoy and and embrace every single day, and just love on the people that are in my circle.
I love that, Kelly. I want to challenge you to stop saying, I am my worst critic. I used to say that to myself all the time. Words are so powerful, and the 2 most powerful words in the English language is I am, and everything that you say after it. So I challenge you to no longer say that, but say, I am my biggest fan. And I know that you're working on it, but saying that, I said it for years of like, oh, well, and I had to stop. I had to completely not use that in my language and anything. Even when I beat myself up a little bit, I had to shift my mindset and my heart set and say, you know what? I am my biggest fan, and I am my biggest cheerleader. Why am I going to criticize myself and say that? So, because I am uniquely designed and made with, so if yes, that's all I want to say. So sorry, my internet, I don't know if you guys can hear me, and I know MaryLynn keeps going in and out. These Florida storms are driving nuts.
You're perfectly. Kelly, where do you live?
And Brian is here. Hi,
Yes,
Brian.
I see that. I was going to bring him in a sec. Where do you live, Kelly?
I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay. So I would encourage you, and MaryLynn, I hope you can hear, maybe not, and MaryLynn really should do this, and Rodney, you need to come to another BWC get together. Like we all were in Dallas a month ago, whenever that was, because, we have been building and fostering these relationships, and we know each other probably better than some of our family members know us. And it's just a very important thing to meet in real time. MaryLynn, you need to put it on your calendar, girl. So, because again, it helps, like you said, Angeline, I don't share that because, again, it's not about vulnerability, it's about privacy for my family. But on the other side of the coin, why I'm sharing it is about reaching out, and because I do need others. I need others in my life. I need to have that relationship. And so But I love what you said. Oh, there he is. Yay. But I love what what Angeline said to you, Kelly. I agree. We all should use that challenge. I am enough. I am blessed. I am perfect. Whatever it resonates in your spirit. But let's all do that. That'll be our next challenge, the I am challenge. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Megan. Good evening, MaryLynn, Maria, Rodney, and Kelly.
And Angeline, the superstar.
Oh, Angeline. Yes. Hi, Angeline.
Now, were you at an event tonight, Brian?
Yeah, I was at a networking event, and then I was at another event supporting some people from a Business Connects group that I'm a part of, and also doing a photo op at a place that they're knocking down. There's a painting on the walls of that building, a very nice painting, and they're knocking it down. So that's why I was a little bit late to this. Well,
we always love you being here,
yes,
Brian. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I've become this has become one of my core groups on Thursday nights, and I know Tuesday nights on Clubhouse is very hard for me to make these days, or at least for the whole thing. But I'm happy to be here, and
So tonight, Brian, we're talking about compassion, and we're talking about it from the 5 C's. You've been with me for a while now. Clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and compassion. And these are my 5 non-negotiables, essentially, for building, starting, scaling, and sustaining a business and your life. But we're talking tonight of the essence of compassion and compassion for self, because you can't start a business or maintain a business without compassion for yourself, because you screw up royally a lot. And so you have to take those steps and forgive yourself. And so with that said, what does compassion on any level mean to you, Brian?
Self-compassion means forgiving myself and understanding that it's going to be okay. I think, and that was something that I really struggled with in the past, because I used to have at least one meltdown every month, and this is part of having autism. Yeah, I've learned to understand that having that occasional episode is okay, because I was sort of raised to believe that it wasn't, particularly from my father. And now I don't, when I look back on my life, and especially my early days as a kid, I don't feel like I can't take on anything at this point. I feel like in a lot of ways it's just normality, and I don't feel lost like a lot of adults on the autism spectrum might feel like. I don't feel sorry about the fact that I didn't go to college. So it's having that compassion to understand that just perseverance and hard work, and in the spirit of Clubhouse, being up on so many different stages, small and big, helps me to get where I want to go, and I think it's because of that self-compassion that I've been able to resonate with a lot of people. So like when I put out a video specifically about a milestone I was getting close to on YouTube, I was shocked that so many people responded to that, because in the past, I feel like a lot of people don't respond to things that I say. And yet they did. But I guess it's because, or no, I don't guess. It's because I just kind of let everything take care of itself. Because the reality is a lot of people are following lots and lots of people, and so you can't really like beg for things like that with as it relates to social media. You just have to let it fall where it may. And what's really rewarding is when people who never or almost never interact with my stuff say how much they love what I'm doing. So
well, you said several things that are so important. One is that you said, and I've learned that it's going to be okay. And I think that is huge in the understanding of self-compassion, that it's going to be okay. However, whenever, it's going to be okay. And the other, my friend, is why did people respond and are beginning to so respond to everything you're doing, is because, Brian, you have committed to doing the work and you do it all the time. So you have gained tremendous respect from people that you think aren't paying attention, and maybe they hadn't in the past, but you keep showing up and you keep doing excellent work. And so they're seeing this, Brian. And so you're building that respect. It's just like Grant Cardone said, it's better to be known than best. I know, I'm not saying that there should be a balance with it, but you have to continue to show up. And that's what you're doing, Brian. And, you've been, what's the word on LinkedIn, certified or whatever the word is? I mean, that's a pretty dang big deal. Is that what it's called? Certified?
Yeah, I think it is certified. Verified. And I will say, Brian, real quick, that you inspire me, man. Every time I see you on there, you just inspire me. And if I'm ever having a bad day thinking about something that's going on with me, I see you on there, man, and that feeling goes right away, man. I appreciate you.
Amen. That right.
I would like to take a quick picture of all of us really quick.
Thank you. I was gonna ask you, hey girlie, are you around?
Yeah.
So to do this. Okay. So everyone smile.
1, 2, 3, cheese. As I get in and out, just because me and MaryLynn are having our issues.
I'm back.
Yeah, you're back. Love
Yay.
it.
Yeah, the storm passed.
What part
And
of
I
Florida are you guys in?
And
Angelina and MaryLynn. What part of Florida?
St. Petersburg.
You're coming to Tampa, aren't you, Rodney? Aren't you going to be here soon?
Bradenton.
Bradenton.
Yeah, you're right across the bridge.
I'll be in Bradenton the weekend of June 18th. I'll let you guys know when I'm coming down there. When I get down there, but I'll be down there.
Yeah,
and someday I'm coming to New York, Maria.
Oh, we're going to have a big party. I just have to figure that all out.
Yeah, we got to go. We got to go to New Jersey too to go see Brian.
Capital of the world, says Ramon.
I'll come to New Jersey. You'd only have to go to one place. No worries. I'll come to New Jersey. So I just want to say this, MaryLynn. It's so funny because people are saying MaryLynn, MaryLynn, and then we were in Dallas, and everybody like Angeline, you saw. Are you MaryLynn? And I got I didn't realize they were saying MaryLynn. I thought they were saying Maria Lynn. Now we're twinning. I'm like, I don't mind being called MaryLynn. She's beautiful.
Exactly.
Well, when we were in Kentucky, I got called Nat Banks and Ramon
Yes.
Ray.
Yes, right. Exactly.
All us redheads look alike.
Yeah. Well, our names are similar too. So
Exactly. No, I know. We're very similar.
And then when Mary Kim comes in, it's just gotta love it all.
But I do want to say though, MaryLynn, I did notice early on how you just always just jump right in, fill right in, just what Megan was saying. And I admire that. And the reason that I noticed it is because I was like, wow, she's so on point. But the reason you're on point is you genuinely care about what people are saying. Find a way to connect to what they're saying and share it so eloquently that to me it's like, wow, I know I listen to people. It makes me want to listen better. And it's just so impressive how you do that. I literally listen carefully for you to jump in and see how you're going to and what you're going to say. And you always tie it in. And I respect that so much.
And I think that
That's
just
a
goes
good
back
reason.
to the whole thing of where Glenn is. People want to be seen and heard. There was a time I wanted to be seen and heard, and I know what it feels like not to. And so I really genuinely care. And I also want to encourage people to do what I've done, because I used to shake, sweat, cry after I shared. Like, I didn't have, it was so hard for me to speak up. So 2 things I want to say about the compassion is, when people want to be seen and heard, and I know what it feels like not to. So I think that's why I take that extra care. It's just in my character. And also is to encourage other people to do what I've done, because I think that's the other thing is I know what it feels like to be that person just speaking up for the first time. And I would back channel people. I'm never coming again. I'm just so embarrassed. And, so I never want anyone to feel like that. And I think when you don't, that's where compassion comes into is. So I think that I just wanted to wrap it up with that. So I do appreciate the compliment. I hear that a lot. I did not realize people were taking such notice, but it is heartfelt. So I think when you do that, people can't help but notice.
MaryLynn, MaryLynn, the thing about you is you're not trying to be interesting. You are definitely 100% interested in other people, and it shows. It definitely shows.
That's right. It's I shared
You
this
are
earlier.
interesting too.
Hey, exactly. I shared this earlier.
Oh, you guys don't even know how interesting I am. Exactly. You'll go learn one day. No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely, you are. But I shared this earlier how people ask me, who's going to be your guest next week? I have no idea. I just listen, meaning I'm a listener as well. And so something you said probably Saturday morning, and I was like, oh, MaryLynn, meaning because I'm guided-ish because of that, the word, the C. And what better person to be here tonight than you, MaryLynn. I truly appreciate you joining us and sharing, because you are just a sweetheart. And always, as everyone said, yes, well, you should take that picture. We can't do it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wouldn't be all right, ready? All the
Okay.
heart. 1, 2, 3. Yay!
Those are my glasses. Those are my
That's so cute.
right. Very cute. Very cute. So I hope you join us again, MaryLynn.
That's why I have
Yes.
my heart on.
And then she got
Oh, that's perfect.
not on your sleeve, but on your neck. It's right.
That's right. I wear my heart right out there in the open.
Very nice. Very nice.
So.
Well, we look forward to seeing you, hearing you tomorrow morning on BWC. But thank you, everyone. And Brian, come whenever. You can come late, you can come early, but just come. I look forward to having you with us every week. And Kelly, it was such a pleasure having you with us. So please do.
Thank you for having me. I do have a Toastmaster class like every other Thursday, so I won't be able to make it every Thursday. Okay. Thank you.
Come. Yeah. And this is streamed out into YouTube. It's in LinkedIn, our master here of LinkedIn. It's on, we have a Propel Clubhouse room and also a Propel Your Business and Life Facebook group. So it's some weeks there are a lot of Facebook people in here. I mean, it just changes every week. So, whomever,
can
whatever.
place too. So if you
I just want
get
to say it was nice to connect with. Oops, I think there's a delay. My apologies.
No, go ahead.
Just want to say it was nice to connect with Kelly because I do see you come in the mornings. I do try and invite you up. Oh, I'm
Oh,
stuck again.
thank you, MaryLynn. I'm going to get the courage to talk. I'm working on it. Thank you.
Everyone needs everyone's voice. We all need, and you never know. I mean,
MaryLynn, just call on her.
that's true. Just call on her. Yes, exactly right. But you never know who needs to hear you, Kelly. So just open that mic and share.
Okay.
Okay.
Working on it. Thank you.
I love when you share here. It's been so great to get to know you when you come into this space. It's been really cool. So
Absolutely.
Thank you. You guys are really awesome. I feel like it's so great to see people like this, on, like live. It's just great. We feel more connected.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's what I said to Angeline. I said, let's do StreamYard so people can come in. You know,
Perfect.
we can just get to know each other in real time as well. Oops, there she went. But yeah, so no, we'll just continue it, and every week another person with us and just another C. So next week it will be back to clarity, and we'll just continue on with
Well,
this.
happy Mother's Day to all you gals.
You as well.
Thank
as
you.
Yes, definitely. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Yes, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
And to you all, to all the mothers you love. So if you're not a mom, to all the moms you love. And yeah, have a beautiful weekend.
Well, I love all you bombs.
Thanks.
And send
How
out
cool, how cool was it that MaryLynn froze so beautiful? Did
I
you
know.
notice?
It was such a great picture.
I should have
Now on
that.
Clubhouse.
Perfect
With
timing.
me. Let's see.
Perfect timing. Well, thank you, MaryLynn, for joining us. It was wonderful.
Good
Good night,
All
everybody.
Good
We'll
night,
see ya.
everyone.
Good night.
Be blessed.
Bye.